Welcome to Bold Beginnings, where we teach and show you how God works in our careers, what His purpose is for us, and why we should trust Him in everything that we do. My name is Rita Wilson.
And I'm Sandra Fernandez.
And we are here with Tiffany Berger. How are you?
I'm good.
So good to see you.
Good to see you.
So glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
So Tiffany, tell us a little bit about yourself. What does Tiffany love to do for fun?
Well, I am a special education teacher's assistant at a school in Marriott Slaterville. That's my passion. I just love kids. Anything to do with kids, I love it. Outside of work, I do a little bit of everything. I'm crafty, I'm nerdy, I video game, I cook,
love it.
I bake. I do a little bit of everything.
She loves cow print, guys.
I love cows in general.
I love it.
Everything to do with cows.
I love it. I love it. I saw you in the cutest pants when we first met.
Were they cow print?
Were they?
Yes,
I don't remember.
yes, they were.
No, my shirt was cow
Was it
print.
your shirt?
And my pants are very similar to your pants now.
Okay. And then you had the pin with it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, babe, that's cute. And then when I finally met you, you were like, I love cow print. I was like, oh. Well, I could tell, you know. Yeah. So I love it. That's awesome. What else do you like to do for fun on your free time?
Hang out with my husband and my 2 dogs and my 2 cats.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are your dogs' names?
Zara is my dog, and my husband's dog's name is Uh-Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Yep, Uh-Oh.
That's different.
It is very unique,
That's
and
really
everybody loves it.
I love that. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. So today I want to talk about faith.
I love it.
I took a emotional spirituality class with you, and we both can say, were you ready for that, girl? Because I wasn't waiting for that class.
I'm like, dang, I want to take this class.
You need to. It's so good.
I was like waiting. I'm like, when is it coming back around?
Right? Yeah.
I think we shared a lot of tears.
Oh,
in
for
that,
sure.
In that class. So
I brought my big bag of tissues every class.
Every class. You
never
did
know.
pass stuff around. You're like, I got tissues. Anybody need it? I love it. So I just wanted to talk about faith with you. What does faith mean to you?
Faith, wow, it's a big word. It's been a big part of my life, my whole life. I actually wrote down a verse. If you don't mind, I'll read it.
Yes, absolutely. Share all the good stuff.
I love it. So, let me find it. So there's a Bible verse in Hebrews 11:1, and it says, "Faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see." And I think that really just sums it all up, because there's so many times in our lives when we're so confused about where are you taking me, God? What are you doing right now? Like, this is not where I thought my life would be. But we know that He's going to take care of us.
Right.
We know that He is faithful. He's good. He's just. He gives us mercy and grace, and He's amazing, and He'll take care of us. He's given us so many promises. And so in my life, there's been so many times, like I said, growing up, I grew up in a Christian household.
Okay.
Like, it was totally normal. Like, Christmas and Easter were godly holidays. They weren't about the Easter Bunny. It wasn't Santa Claus. Like,
Right.
I didn't grow up with that. We did do like the Santa Claus thing, but I knew that it was just a game.
Yeah.
It was
It's almost like a character.
right. Yeah. Like, we played the fun game, but at the end of the day, we knew Christmas was about Jesus' birth. Easter was about resurrection. And so my whole life, I knew God was there. I knew God loved me. And then in my senior year of high school, my dad was like, "Hey, we're moving to Germany." And I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I graduated high school, and a week later we packed up and left.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, it was really quick. And that was kind of scary. I'd never left the country before. Luckily I had taken German in high school, so I was like, okay, I got that down.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was very lucky on that. And so when I moved to Germany, I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. I knew that God was always there, and I knew that He always loved me. But I didn't have a relationship with Him. I didn't speak with Him. I didn't, but I knew, I was like, oh, he's there. It's all good. He's got my back. And I just kind of went about doing things my way. And as you all know, it doesn't go the way you want to do it. It doesn't work that way. And so I just kind of did things my way, whatever. And then in 2014, I moved back to the States. I lost my dependency with my dad, and so I had to move back to the States. Moved in with my best friend Sharon, and just kind of was like, oh, well, I guess I'll do these things, not taking into consideration God's will for me.
Right.
I was like, well, this is, I know I want to work with kids and I want to work in the medical field, so that's what I'm going to do. No hesitation. I went and got my CNA license. I got a job at a hospital and worked there for 6 months and then was fired.
Oh, wow.
I was basically thrown under the bus for a mistake that the hospital had made. And I was, whatever. So that was probably one of the first times that I was like, oh, okay, God.
Oh, my gosh.
I need you right now.
Yeah.
I had never been fired from a job. And I was living with my boyfriend, and he didn't make a lot of money, and now I was fired, and I was like, I was so stressed. I bawled for days on end. I was like a shell. I just curled up in a ball and just cried for days. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I can't just sit here and have this pity party. I have to get up and do something.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, God, what are you trying to show me here? You closed that door clearly. What doors are you opening for me? So I started to try to kind of open up to him and listen and search and seek.
So were you building a relationship with God right now? It was in this moment?
In what I thought it was.
Okay.
In that moment, I thought I was. Looking back now, I'm like, no, that's not what it means to build a relationship. Just looking at him when I need help is not building a relationship.
Exactly.
And so I ended up becoming a waitress for a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm still supposed to be in the medical field. So I went back and got my CCMA license, which is a medical assistant. So it's like a step up from CNA. Got through the class, passed it all with flying colors, couldn't find a job. No one would hire me, not a single one. And I was like, okay, maybe this still isn't right. Okay. And then as I was searching, the area I lived in Virginia was not a healthy place. It was lots of gangs, lots of drugs, lots of violence. The people I surrounded myself were not godly people. They brought me down. And I started to look around and go, no, this is not where I'm supposed to be. This doesn't feel right. I was feeling empty. I was self-harming. I was very depressed. And I was just shrinking into myself every day. And I had a friend of a friend. Her name is Nicole. She reached out to me and said, hey, I go to this Bible study on Wednesday nights. Would you like to come? And I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? Of course I'll go. And I went and I met some amazing people. And God, revealed himself to me completely and was like, you are absolutely right. You're not supposed to be here. But I need you to wait.
I need you to wait. You're like,
The waiting process.
No.
how long, Lord?
I'm ready to go, please. I was so ready. My husband was not ready. He was like, pump the brakes. And I was like, we need to get out of here. I am not meant to be here. We're not meant to be here. This is not where our life is.
And you knew that.
I knew
100%, no doubt,
doubt.
no question.
I felt it in the deepest part of my soul. Like, that was the first time that God truly spoke to me, and I was like, I know what he's saying to me.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Like so confident.
So
There's no
confident.
doubting. Yeah.
And there were so many nights where I would go home from this Bible study just crying and crying and crying, like, God, when is my time? When is it my time to go? I know it's your will, but I'm so ready. Please, please, please. And I listened to the song, I don't know if you've ever heard it, Thy Will by Hillary Scott.
Yes.
That got me through so many times in my life in the last 15 years.
Yeah. I love it.
I would listen to that song nonstop on repeat and just, okay, God, it's your will, it's your will, it's your will. I know you're faithful. I know you're good. You're going to get me through this. I know it. I know you will. And so after, probably a couple months, my parents, who lived here in Utah, they were like, hey, you guys want to come out for a visit? And I was like, okay, let's go out for a visit. I felt it. Let's go. And so while we were out here, my husband had a job interview, and he was like, okay, I'll try it and see what happens.
A job interview here in Utah.
Here in Utah.
Okay.
He was like, all right, whatever, we'll see. And he did the job interview, and they hired him on the spot.
Oh,
They
wow.
said, when can you start? And he was like, give me 2 weeks. I got to get back home, tell my job, pack up. They were like, okay, yeah, no worries, we'll wait.
Oh, wow.
And so
Look at that.
we stayed here for a week with my parents, and after the week we went back and we told our jobs, we're done, we're packing up and we're going.
Yeah.
Everybody was like so like not appalled but like taken aback, like wow, you're just gonna
What are you doing?
pick up and go
Yeah.
like nothing. And yep, when the Lord tells you to move, you move. So we packed up, and his parents, God bless them, they helped us with the financial side of things. And we drove cross country after 2 weeks of packing every bit of thing that we could. And we moved out here. And I had to live with my parents for 6 months.
She's like, I just want to add that in there.
I love them, and I thank them for opening their home to us, absolutely. But I was ready to get into a house. I want my own home.
Yes.
And so I knew I was in the right space. I knew this is where I was meant to be. I didn't know what direction God was taking me at that time. I was like, okay, I know I'm here, and I know this is where I'm supposed to be. Okay, we'll just see where it goes. And so for the first couple years of living here, I tried to find some churches like Genesis Project in Washington Heights, and they were great, but they just didn't feel like home.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right in my heart. And so I was like, okay, I'll just keep searching. I think for a year there, I just kind of stopped. I was like, okay, I can't anymore. I had a lot of ups and downs, you know, in my faith. And then I came across CLC. And the moment I walked in, I was like, this is it. This is my home. These are my people. This is loving. This is caring. Their number one priority is love God and love people.
Yeah.
And that's the way I want to live my life. I want to love God, and I want to love on people.
Yeah.
I want God's light to shine out of me so that other people look at me and go, wow, she's a Christian. She loves God. I can tell. And so I've been there for, I think, 2-3 years now, and it's been amazing. And I've met some amazing, I mean, Rita, I've met you, and you're amazing. Destiny, and so many others. Amy, Nicole, I could go on for hours about how many people God has put in my life for so many different reasons, including Amy. Amy, I want to go on to Amy, because Amy has been, you know Amy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have dealt with infertility for about 5 years now, and that's been a really, really hard thing for
Another
me.
step of faith right there. Right?
A very big step of faith.
Huge.
Especially because since I was, yay big, like 6-7 years old, people have told me, you're going to be a great mother.
Oh.
You're going to be such a good mom. You're going to, you've got baby bearing hips. My mom
Yeah.
always told me, you got baby bearing hips. I do.
I'm like, what do those look like? You know?
I got, one kid on each hip, easy to go, ready to go. So it was really hard to start trying to conceive and just nothing. Nothing. One time after another. And I became a shell again.
Oh.
It hurt. I was disappointed because I was so sure that God had told me from a very young age that I would be a mother, that I would take care of children. Looking back now, I realize it's not just being a mother. I can be a mother to the kids that I work with. And I can be that
That's powerful.
positive influence for them. A lot of the kids I work with don't have parents that care or that just don't show up. And I can be the pseudo mom for them, to show up for them. But that was 5 years of, pure hell, honestly. It hurt. And a lot of times I was angry at God for telling me, you're going to be a mom. I had so many times in my life, and I was so hurt and so angry. But I still knew that God loved me, and I still knew that He would provide, and He's gracious. And He did. It's just not in the way that I thought,
Right.
and that's okay.
When did you come to that realization?
Actually, just recently,
Okay.
probably within the last year. Amy has helped me a lot in realizing that my identity is not in being a mother. My
Love it.
identity is not in being pregnant.
I love it.
My identity is Christ.
Yes.
That's where I am. That's who I am, is God.
Mm-hmm.
And I am who I am today because of God, not because of any issues that I've gone through, not because I can have a child or can't have a child. None of that matters.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is God. And he's got my back, so I'm going to give him everything I have. Here you go.
I love
I
that.
love that.
And what a blessing you are to those kids, you know.
Yeah. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
So I commend you. When the kids had to stay home from school.
Oh, yeah, during COVID. That was a rough time.
Wow.
You're like,
Yeah. So no, I think it takes a very, very special person to be able to work with our special kids that are just
I love him.
so fun some days and hard work the next day. But that's a blessing to have people, especially in the school system, you know, that really do care about our
Right.
children.
And I think that's why God is putting me in the education system, because I see so much injustice, and I'm like, no, we need to do right by these kids. Nobody's got their back right now.
And they're our future.
Right,
Every
they're
little kid that comes out.
absolutely.
It's like they are the
100%.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really truly
beautiful.
believe that God put me. I knew that I wanted to work with kids. I knew it wanted to be kid related,
right.
Yeah.
but I just didn't know what.
You
And
just
then,
didn't know what.
and it was totally God, 100% God. Because when I moved here, I applied for every medical assistant job I could find, and I got one interview out of all of the ones that I put out.
He's
there.
just shutting doors.
I
He's
know.
like, nope,
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 not
nope,
yet. And I was like-
Yep.
And it got to one point where we had been here for a couple months, and my car payment had come out of my bank, and I was left with no money, and I didn't have a job, and all I could do was immediately fall on my knees and just bawl and say, God, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix this, but I know that you will take care of me. I know that you are the God who provides. 100%. I know you will. This is scary right now, absolutely, and I'm feeling the feelings, but I know that you've got me. And I just sat and I just prayed, continued the same thing over and over again. I know you've got me. I know you've got me. I know you've got me. I know you've got me.
Those are probably some of the most powerful
For
prayers.
moments, yep.
When
Absolutely.
you just, it's that repetitiveness. It's that word that you hold on to, that
Yep.
you full-heartedly believe. And I believe that those are some of the most powerful prayers to pray.
100%,
You
yeah.
know, is when you can't say more. There's nothing more you can say other than,
I need you.
I
Yeah.
just need you.
I need you.
Like,
You
I
got
need you
me.
to help me. I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening.
and it's in those moments. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it feels like you're in smoke and you
Yeah.
can't see what's in front of you, but you know that you're holding onto the hand of God and He's going to lead you. He
Yes.
knows the way. He can see everything.
Right.
And that's all you have to do. You have to,
Absolutely.
let go, let God.
Let go,
And
let
that's
God.
exactly, I have it tattooed with a lion
Let's see it.
as a reminder.
I
Let
love
go, let
that.
God. As a reminder, like sometimes there's just situation in our lives where we have to let go.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are not the ones in control. God is.
Yep.
It's His timing, His will. It's all Him, and He's going to take care of us. Like that, the Bible verse in Matthew was actually in the sermon today.
It was.
Tomorrow's got enough worries of its own.
Yeah.
I could get in a car accident on my way home,
Yeah.
and then I worried about tomorrow all for nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
No reason. Like God provides. He provides for all the people, like homeless people and the birds and everything. So why wouldn't He provide for me or you?
Right.
You know?
Right. And I think one of my biggest challenges is like when it's hard for me to keep going when I've asked God for something. And you know, I've definitely had a lot of moments in my life where He's like, okay, Rita, you're gonna have to wait, you know? But it's hard to keep going when I feel like He's not answering me, you know, or when I don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
Like it is hard, but that's something we're supposed to do, right? Even
Right.
when you feel like He's not answering you, or is He gonna do it? You're questioning it. That's when I mean, you want to keep going and keep pushing, right?
Right.
Because he's going to be there. It's not going to be on your time, right? It is definitely on God's time. And
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way, and I'm sure you've had experiences where that happened. So I just love that even though the outcome wasn't what you wanted, right, when it comes to kids, he was able to do that in a different way, right? He's like, it might not be what you want, but this is where I need you. And just shutting all of those doors and giving you this door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah. I've seen God move many, many times in my life. So I can't deny
You're
he's
just
real.
like,
He's there.
real, he's there.
There's no way that he can't be.
I love it. Do you have any other situations where God has just kind of, that you had to hold on to him for faith?
Oh man, yeah. So actually, a couple years ago, I was working at a charter school in South Weber, and the day before the last day of school, I was again randomly fired. Voicemail.
You're like, what is happening here?
Why? And that was devastating because I had worked at this school for 5 years, and these kids truly became my kids.
Yeah.
And I had even told one of the little boys that I work with, he was autistic. When we first got him, he was nonverbal. I was the one that got him out of his shell and like helped him learn to speak and all these things. And at the end of the year, I told his mom, I said, I don't know if you believe in God or not, but I know that God put this child in my life for a reason. And I get to be a mother to him. And it was the best years of my life. And it was so special. And so to then be fired and not get to say goodbye to these kids was so devastating. And so I really, really had to cling to God in that moment. Like, it was unfair. It was unjust. I didn't get to say goodbye. And they're like my babies. They're like, those are my children because I can't have my own. And to not get to say goodbye, that was hard. And then I was left without a job. And I again became a shell of myself. And I was empty. And I didn't know where to go except to God. And Satan I just think about Satan has tried to push me over so many times. So many times he keeps trying to push. And you know what? I may have fallen, but I've always fallen at the feet of Jesus.
Right.
Always, every time.
I love that.
Yeah. And so for a couple months during the summer, I just kind of was like, okay, God, show me what you want from me. Show me where you're trying to lead me. Because I thought this was where I was supposed to be. I was in the school for 5 years, and I loved my job. I loved it with all of my heart. And an old boss of mine was like, hey, I work at this new school. I heard you got fired. Come work for me. And I was like, a little bit traumatized. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that again, reconnect with kids. And I was like, okay, well, I need a job. So I took the job, and in December, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I have to walk away. And so from January until August of last year, I didn't have a job. I kind of helped people with their dogs here and there. I waitressed at an Italian restaurant in Ogden for like a week, and God provided financially in so many ways, like to the point where I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like getting money that I should not have.
Yeah.
100%. I was like, this is not my money. But God said, no, it's yours because you've been faithful. You have stood by me and said, no, I know God's got me. I know God's got me.
So did another opportunity open?
My friend Sarah, she works at a school, the school that I work at now. She worked there for 2 years, and she was like, the sped director here, the sped teacher here is amazing, and you would love it. She's like, and I know that you're still hurt from the last job. She's like, but I really think you should give it a try. And I was like, okay, fine. All right, I'll give it a try. Whatever. See what happens.
It's like, let's see what happens.
All right. And so I did the interview, and I was like, okay, whatever. They offered me the position, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. It was very like I'll just take this one step at a time. Like, if they ask me a question, I'll figure it out in the moment. And so I took the job, I started the job, and my very first day, I cried the whole way home. I bawled the whole way home. I said, this is not my place. These are not my people. I don't think I can do this again. And God just went, it's okay. It's okay. And he kind of gave me some peace. And I went, okay, fine. Clearly this is where you want me. I feel it. And now it's amazing. I'm friends with all the people there. I've gotten to know so many people. And the special education teacher there is truly a godsend. She's bubbly and fun, and she brings out the bubbly fun in me that I had been missing for a couple years. And it's been so great.
I love that. I saw your, was it a faith board you put online?
Yeah,
or was it a prayer board?
Prayer
What
board.
inspired you to do your prayer board?
Well, I've been wanting to do it for a while. And my friend Nicole, Nicole, we met her in the EHS class. Me and her clicked immediately. She's like my second half.
I love that.
She's the other part of my soul. I love her. And me and her had always talked about it. And she was like, no, we're doing it. Let's just do it. And I was like, okay. So we did it. And it was kind of perfect timing because you had asked me to be on the podcast. And I was like, me? What am I going to talk about? And then you had mentioned faith. And I was like, okay, I think that's perfect because my whole life it's been faith after faith after faith.
Holding
and
on
hope
to
and
God.
hope.
Yeah.
Holding on to hope has been my life motto. Just keep holding on. Just hang in there. And so I really based it around faith. And I ended up basing it around Hebrews 11:1.
Yes, I saw that up there.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was like,
okay.
this is, yeah.
So cute.
I got to give props to God because
I'm gonna
I
have
just
to put
said,
a picture
okay,
of it
God.
up. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
it's
love
been
that.
amazing.
I love that. I love that. It did. I saw it and it caught me, and I saw the Hebrews. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love how that kind of ties into like being here. So that's great. So tell me about some of the because I feel like faith is something we have to constantly work on, right?
Yeah.
Because you lose it. And then it comes back.
Yep.
So what are some of the things that you've done when you are like losing your faith, right? Like how do you get back there?
For me, I'm a very musical person.
Okay.
I love music. Praise and worship is absolutely my go-to. So anytime that I ever started to feel lost or hopeless or without faith or like I'm drifting away,
Yeah.
I would put on worship music and I would just it would be my prayer.
It does.
Like sometimes
Sometimes
you
back.
just don't have the words to pray.
Right.
I use worship as my prayers. I just find a good song that speaks to me in that moment, whatever I'm feeling, and I just sing it and I pray it and sometimes I would scream it, at the
Yeah.
top of my
To
lungs.
yell it to get it back.
Yep. You got to do what you got to do.
I love that.
And I would just sing and pray and pray and pray. Praying is a big thing too.
Right.
And now I realize like that's how you have a relationship with God is praying. You're talking to him. And I used to think that praying was this like, dear Heavenly Father, and it has to be perfect and prim and proper. No, it's a conversation with your best friend, your
Yes.
father, like
Yeah.
your creator.
Yes.
He knows everything already. He knows
Right.
your deepest, darkest secrets and feelings. So lay it out on anyways.
Yep.
He wants you to come to him. He wants you to say, I'm hopeless and the only thing I can do is come to you.
Right.
That's all he wants. And that's what I did over and over again. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what you're doing. So
Right.
here you go.
Right.
I'm laying it down at your feet.
I love it. I did this Bible study called When You Pray. And I'll have to share the book with you guys, but it was amazing. Like it completely changed the way I started praying, right? Because I find myself like asking for the things that I need or I feel like I want, right?
Yeah.
And going through this Bible study was just like, it was really life changing for me because it just, it broke down like God already knows your needs. He already knows your wants, right? He already knows everything before you come to him. And so then I started, like I completely changed with you know, like, oh, Lord, I really want this. I need this. Like, this is what's happening, you know. I started getting on my knees and just saying, Lord, you already know all of these things, right?
Yep.
You know, so, like, I need you to help guide me, right?
Yes.
Because I feel lost, right? And I mean, it really just built my faith, and it also built like my relationship with God. I was able to grow a lot more closer to him because I didn't go to him with my issues no more, right? I went to him trusting and having faith that he already knows what I need, and I just need guidance so I'm able to fulfill the things that he need me to do. So that Bible study, I was like, everyone should be taking this. Because think about like how we come to God, right? And like it was awesome. And sometimes and just to like go to him and say, I know you already know what I need. Like that's faith itself, you know? Like I already know like the path you have for me, just please guide me.
Yeah.
So like that was just a great experience for me. So
And that's hard to do, to ask God to guide you and to have that faith and trust that he's going to guide you and show you the way. And there's going to be times where he seems silent.
like, where are you at?
Hello.
What's up? I called on you 2 times already. You're not here.
And I've had a lot of those moments in my life. And I did a Bible study with my cousin Abby once, and it's called Experiencing God. And it talks about how sometimes we go into those moments where we don't hear God and we don't feel like we feel him. And he's there. It's just, you have to wait. You have to be. It's like an intermission.
Right.
Just, this is where you're going to build. I mean, it happened to David in the Bible. Like, you're going to have moments where you just have to stop and just be with God and just build your relationship with him, because he's preparing you for the next part of your life, the next part of your season. And you don't know that now because you're just looking at this tiny little dot of your whole life, you know? But he knows what he's doing. He's got it all planned out.
Yes.
You just have to have that faith. Big word, faith.
Yes.
It's hard,
Trusting.
but it's possible.
Trusting without knowing what's going to happen, boy.
Yep.
And we all do that. I feel like we're all just like, we're so blatantly self-sufficient, right? When we have issues, we try to reach out to other people for help, right?
Or solve it ourselves.
Or try to fix the problem when, you know, that might not be the path
Right.
that God wants us on. And it's hard to stop and say, Lord, like, put me on the path, because you know, sometimes we don't agree with the path that God wants us to be on, right? We're like, but I want this. You know?
You're right.
Like, wait a minute, is this right? You know, so we try to fix our issues or fix the problem or call somebody to help us, when really it's time to be diligent. Like, you need to wait, you know.
And be obedient.
And, you know, we've talked about that on this show before. Obedience is so important.
It really is.
But I mean, nowadays our attention span.
I know I have a hard time because I tend to be that like rebellious child that's like, but why? You know what I mean? And the more I like develop and mature in my relationship with Christ, I'm like, I understand now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had so many moments, but I'm like, but why? And he's like, nope. And I'm like, but why? Like, let me discover it for myself. And then I do. And then it's like,
that big light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it just brings me to a very humble moment, because it's like, wow, Lord, like, you really, truly do love me. And it's hard for me to accept love. And it's hard for me to imagine that somebody could love me through my flaws and everything and unconditionally. And so in those moments of like, those are the moments where I like will fall to my knees, because I'm like, wow, like, you love me so much that you would protect me from that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And even though I'm over here just being this stubborn person that's like trying to figure it out for myself, you still are so gracious enough to be like, okay, come back. Like, let's redirect, you know?
Yeah.
And I see his hand and his love every day, and it's so incredible, but it is very humbling, and I do struggle with accepting love. And so in those moments, it's like, wow, like you truly care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always used to say, I grew up with my stepdad, but he's a great man. Love him. I have a real dad too. He's in Mexico, and my relationship.
Just let y'all know.
I have two dads.
I have a real dad.
But I never felt like I grew up with the father figure. You know what I mean? Like emotionally, and we all have our stories and stuff. But it's so crazy because just barely last year, I remember a moment specifically where God was like, I've always been there. I've heard conversations that you did not hear. I saw things that you did not see, which is why I have protected you the way I have, right? And I just remember just bawling because I was like, oh my gosh, like, because I've always wondered, like, what is it like to have a dad? Like an actual, like, dad.
Right.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because just not that long ago, I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, that's what it's like to have a father. A father that protects you, that stands up for you, that guides you, and then when you mess up, picks you up and has compassion for you. And I was like, wow. And not only is that having a dad, but that inspires me to, like, in parenting too, you know what I mean? Like, to have that same compassion for my child, you know? And anyways, it's just really cool how, like, he really never leaves you, nor forsakes you. And
just like you were saying.
And our parents, like, they have their stuff that they went through, and they were raised a specific way, and during that retreat is me and Rita, like, we had, like, this moment of, like, I was like, wow, I never realized how upset I was with my mom. You know what I mean? I never realized how much, I don't even know where we're going right now, but like,
we're here.
It's crazy because in that moment, the Lord really showed me compassion for my mom, and I love my mom. Like, everybody loves my mother. She's this, like, tiny little thing awesome. With a lot of, like, life. But yeah, and then in realizing that she was raised a specific way, and she still struggles till this day with certain things, and anyways, I experienced the love of a father and a dad, and happy Father's Day to y'all. But yeah, so sorry to steer away so far.
No, you're okay.
Like,
we love it.
Reel it back in.
Reel it back in.
No, but I feel you on the not being able to receive love.
Yeah.
I feel that, though, because I also struggle with that. Growing up from 3rd grade until I graduated high school, I was bullied. Just relentlessly.
Yeah.
And, like, I always, I ended up getting into some trouble when I was in high school because I wrote out a list of people that I wanted to die, and I titled it Die List. And they found it, and they were like, well, we don't want this to become a, situation.
So you wrote a list of people that you wanted to die.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was just
you
so
were you're like, I'm
so
angry.
angry.
I was so done.
So how did you, at what point did you get to where you were able to forgive these people, if you have?
I actually haven't ever thought about, like, it just got to a point where I think the EHS class helped me a lot to be comfortable with who I am.
Yes.
I'm a weird, crazy, bubbly, outgoing person. I have a lot of emotions, and I feel them deeply, and that's who God made me.
Yeah.
And I, taking that EHS class helped me realize that's who God made me to be, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And you can make fun of me all you want. It's not going to bother me anymore.
Right.
And so I don't even think about the people that bullied me in middle school. And I don't even think about it. I'm like, whatever.
That's really cool.
You have to live with that.
Right.
So it was more like a phase of, like,
Right, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And in the moment when I was being bullied for all those years, it seemed like such a long part of my life, and like it was never going to end. It was, you know? And then God came in, and then God, you know?
Right.
But God.
Right.
And he was just like, nope, you're a child of God. And I was like, yes, thank you. So I totally feel
belong somewhere.
Yes, that feeling of belonging.
Yes. Because
You
it's
can't
not
get
even
it
like
anywhere
a
but here.
belonging
Yeah.
as in, like, I belong to a group. It's almost
Right.
like
You found your people.
you found
your
yes, and it's
home.
almost like God puts this, he's enough. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yes.
So now you're not seeking validation
Right. Yes.
from other people.
Yeah. And I struggled with that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, even after I graduated high school, like, I was trying to find love and
Yeah.
friendship and acceptance in all the wrong places.
Right.
You know, but.
And then we get lost.
And then we we are sheep,
Right.
you know.
And we're like, where do we need to
Yeah.
get back
He
to?
leaves the
Sometimes
99.
even being in a relationship with Christ, we have the season of like the honeymoon stage, you know,
Right.
and you're on
Right.
fire and like
Yeah.
nothing can ever, you know, but
Yeah.
then something does come and then you're like,
Something always
oh,
comes.
you
What
know,
happened?
but it's important to know, to have that foundation
Yeah.
where you can fall. Like you said, I do fall, but I fall
yeah.
at the feet of Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Just
that.
have faith. He's
So
going to always be
beautiful.
there for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Even that visual is just beautiful.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it.
I love you.
Yes, I love you. You're awesome. So, if you had anything to leave our viewers and listeners, what would it be? Anything you want to say. It doesn't even have to be about faith, but
Well, God loves you.
Yes.
100%.
yes.
Even in your darkest times and the darkest nights, when you think that you are all alone, God is with you. 100%. He is there. You may not feel it, you may not see it, but he's there. And if you build that relationship with him, you will start to feel it and you will start to see it and you'll start to hear it.
Yes.
And that's all it takes.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you for
Taking
having
time.
me.
Of course. You're great.
Thank you.
All righty.
All right, girl.
Remember to be bold
Be brave
and be better. See you guys soon.